Okay, so we all know the Jetsons, right? That cheerful, futuristic utopia with flying cars and robot maids. But what if I told you that behind all of that, there's a secret origin story? One that is, and I'm not kidding, one of the darkest, most fascinating reimaginings I have ever come across. It's based on a series pitch called Water Aquajets, and trust me, it changes absolutely everything you thought you knew about this classic cartoon. And really, the entire wild concept boils down to this one question. What if the Jetsons' perfect future wasn't built on progress, but on a massive, catastrophic mistake? One that's tied to one of the biggest disasters in history. So forget the flying cars for just a second. This story begins somewhere much, much colder and a whole lot deeper. So we're not starting in the future. No, we're jumping way, way back into our own past. Our story kicks off in the North Atlantic. The year is 1912, and the mood is immediately dark, mysterious, and a complete world away from the bright, sunny optimism of Orbit City. Just picture it. It's April 14th. The unsinkable ship, the RMS Titanic, is cutting through the water on its maiden voyage. The seas are calm, the night is clear, everything seems perfectly fine, and we all think we know what happens next, right? But this is where the story just takes a hard left turn away from the history books.
Right when you're expecting to see that fateful iceberg, something else shows up. A massive, shimmering bubble, about the size of a small house, just surfaces directly in the ship's path. This, right here, is the moment, the impossible, otherworldly event that completely throws history off the rails.
And just try to wrap your head around what happens next. There's no crunching metal, no violent collision. When that bubble touches the ship, the hull just dissolves. A perfect circle is just erased from existence, almost like the atoms themselves were just deleted. It's silent, it's bizarre, and it's terrifyingly advanced. In the middle of all this chaos, Captain Smith makes a call, a huge one. He orders a cover-up. So the story we all know, the Titanic hitting an iceberg, that was a lie, invented on the spot to stop the world from freaking out. And with that one order, a conspiracy is born that's going to ripple out for centuries. And then, bam, smash cut. We leap forward in time centuries after this thing called the Great Melt. And the whole vibe just flips. We go from this dark, historical horror story to this super upbeat sci-fi world. And we meet the Aquajets family, living their lives in the sunken city called Aqua, New York. So at this point, you'd think you're watching a totally different show. It's all fun, lighthearted comedy. We're following the Aquajets and their hilarious waterlogged lives in this bright underwater city. The whole point is to make you completely forget about that dark opening scene with the Titanic. But of course, the past has a funny way of not staying buried. But here's the clever part. Even while you're laughing at all the underwater gags, the story is secretly dropping these little clues, like breadcrumbs, leading you right back to that night in 1912. They're all hidden in plain sight, and everyone just dismisses them as nothing. And this is just a brilliant way of showing how they did it. First up, you've got this cute little crayon drawing from Elroy, showing a weird bubble and a sinking ship that he just laughs off. Then George, good old George, finds this actual historical artifact, a porcelain plate from the company that owned the Titanic, and what does he do? He uses it as a coaster. He has no idea. And finally, you get this kooky old historian muttering about some big cover-up, and, naturally, everybody just ignores him. Each one is a piece of this giant puzzle. So this all builds and builds until we get to the finale, where a simple school project by Elroy accidentally yanks on the one thread that unravels the entire mystery. The clues finally snap together, and an echo from the distant past comes roaring into their present. Elroy's messing around with his deep-sea scanner, and suddenly, his equipment just goes nuts. It picks up this massive energy spike, a nuclear-level event. But the readings are all wrong. It's like the signal is a ghost, an echo traveling through time from something that already happened. And the worst part, the frequency, it's naggingly familiar. And this is it, the big aha moment. On one screen, Elroy pulls up his old crown drawing, the one he called his time bubble. And on the other, he hacks into a declassified US Navy file from way back in 1946, and the title is just bone-chilling. Project Titanic Retribution. That innocent kid's fantasy was shockingly, horrifyingly real. And Elroy's horrified realization just lays it all out there. It turns out, the sinking of the Titanic, That was him. It was a childhood time travel experiment that went horribly wrong, a total accident. But humanity didn't see an accident. They detected a hostile advanced energy signature. For over a century, they've believed it was an unprovoked attack, and they have been planning their revenge.
Which brings us to a really famous, or maybe infamous, piece of 20th century history, the Bikini Atoll nuclear tests. Well, according to this story, one of those tests wasn't a test at all. It was the moment the US Navy finally launched their decades-long plan for revenge.
I mean, just look at this timeline. The event happens in 1912. They deploy the weapon in 1946. That's a 34-year gap. Imagine, for over 3 decades, an entire generation of humanity living with the knowledge that there's something out there, and they're slowly, patiently building a weapon to hunt it down.
So what exactly was this weapon? It's called an anti-chrono energy wave. Basically, they took a nuke and they wrapped it in some crazy tech they reverse-engineered from that very first anomaly back in 1912. When it went off, it wasn't just a big explosion. It was a targeted energy wave designed to phase through the ocean and home in on the exact resonant frequency of Elway's original time bubble.
So, the weapon hits Aqua, New York. But it's not some big boom. The story describes it as this deep, penetrating resonant frequency. It's like a sound, a vibration, so perfectly the inverse of the city's own energy that it literally shakes their world apart from the inside out.
And this is the moment it all happens. The attack triggers what they call the Great Cataclysm. This is how the underwater world of the Aquajets is violently ripped from its foundation and reborn as the sky-high world of the Jetsons that we all recognize.
Okay, so let's break down this absolutely insane sequence of events. First, that resonance blast literally unmoors the city, ripping it right off the seabed. Second, the entire city is launched into the sky, trapped inside this massive pillar of water and light. And finally, as it hits the upper atmosphere, the water instantly freezes and then just, poof, sublimates, turning directly from solid ice to vapor, revealing the dry, sleek architecture of Orbit City underneath.
And here comes the most brilliant, darkly ironic moment of all. The family starts to wake up. They're floating, they're confused, they have no idea what just happened. And what's the first thing we hear? That classic, upbeat, happy-go-lucky Jetsons theme song swelling triumphantly. It's such a powerful and jarring moment.
And while everyone's freaking out, who's the calm one? Rosie the robot, of course. She just calmly and chillingly sums the whole thing up. And as she says this, you see George float by, not just confused, but completely heartbroken, because he knows. He knows his son's innocent little mistake just got their entire civilization destroyed and exiled into space. So that's where we're left. The Jetsons' utopia, their whole happy future, it wasn't a choice. It was an exile. They are literally refugees, launched into orbit by an act of revenge for a crime they never even meant to commit. Knowing their cheerful future is built on such a tragic, epic misunderstanding, does it change how you see their story? Pretty wild stuff to think about. Thanks for diving into this one with me.